Hey everyone, welcome back to Bathing Dangerous. Today we are going to look at a review for episode 2 of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers. We watched episode 1 last week. We had an average score of around 7 out of 10, but we weren't very impressed with what was going on. And now we're going to get right into the story of episode 2 because it was so interesting. So, Merlin, why don't you just tell me right off the bat, tell the viewers, what was episode 2 all about?
Not a whole heck of a lot. It was it was a bit rough. Just kind of running through it.
Mm-hmm.
They did trust exercises, which was like kind of painful. The main kid just wanted to play hockey, and the mom wanted to really put forth that it's not about winning.
Right.
They had dialogue with Gordon Bombay. Gordon Bombay just shot them down and refused to be any fun whatsoever.
Yeah, he kind of
The
reminds
main
me.
kid,
He kind of reminds
you
me
go
of like.
ahead.
He reminds me in this episode of a university student. He's like laying down on the couch eating a fucking pizza. And like, is that what he's doing? They really couldn't think of anything.
Okay,
Like, that's what he does throughout the day is just lay on the couch.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I had this discussion of like it's like they've made him an alcoholic or a drug addict, but it's Disney, so they can't do that. So
Yeah.
he like sleeps all day
Yeah.
and eats junk food, but doesn't do anything.
And he hates hockey and he just mopes around and talks about how much he hates hockey.
Yes, and anytime there's any chance for the show to go anywhere, they go to him and he just immediate stop, red light.
Yeah. He throws out one sassy remark and then that's it. They just go on to the next thing. That's it.
Yeah. So that happens. Then they had an award ceremony, which was also kind of painful.
Yeah.
They had to steal gear. They didn't have enough equipment, so they had to steal gear from the Ducks, which I don't think it was like the most amazing part, but I thought that was like a fun idea. Like that's
Right.
what this needs more of is like you could just have a whole bunch of like oh we need to steal some gear, or like oh Koob the goalie needs to react faster, so we're all gonna slap pucks at him and not give him enough time. Oh, this person needs to learn to skate, so we're gonna suspend them from something, and they'll just you know what I mean, like just wacky, like have some fun for God's
I
sakes.
know. I went on that rant in the last episode. I'm not going to do that again. How they should have started the Mighty Ducks Game Changers with a bang. But what they should have done in this episode, you're right. The only interesting part or memorable part was when they went to steal the equipment, and still I thought it was shit. But anyways, they should have went there, and then the mom tells the good-looking kid, like, okay, you're gonna go in there and play with your hair, and you're gonna distract the
Yeah.
lady. He should have went in, and rock music should have started playing in the background. And then he goes right up to the desk and he says, hey, and she turns and he flips his hair, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he takes a skate blade and just cuts her throat. And they're watching it from outside the rink, and they just start screaming in terror as this kid saws this woman's head off. That's how it should have.
Jesus Christ. And he just puts his finger up to his lips and he goes, Christ.
That's what it should have done. But yeah, so anyways, continue. So they get past the
Getting back
equipment.
on track from that.
Yeah, they get past the equipment. Perfect. We have our
Then
only.
they get jerseys. That part made no sense. They just had to steal equipment, but they could afford brand new jerseys. The jerseys say the don't bothers, which really kind of
Yeah.
seals all of our issues of like why the fuck are they calling this the don't bothers.
Yeah.
And then they go and play hockey, and they play against the other team that just beats them the whole time.
Yeah. Beats them red. Just beats them fucking red. The Cardinals.
And Gordon Bombay watches. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen enough Mighty Ducks. Before the night before the game, the mom goes to the stadium to
Yeah.
sit pensively, and then Gordon Bombay's there. Does that happen in like every
Oh,
Mighty Ducks
shit.
movie?
Yeah, you brought up a good point. So in like Mighty Ducks 2, when Gordon loses his he gets too big for, like, he has celebrities talking to him because he's the coach of the Goodwill Games team and their Team USA. So at one point he loses like his, what do you call it, like his humbleness.
His mojo.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
see.
so he's
Not
out.
like Austin Powers.
No, no. So he's out on like a basketball court in California, skating around, like rollerblading around, and like music's playing in the background, and he's trying to like get back his whatever, his composure. So that kind of reminded me of that, how like you see him skating and the mom's like, "Whoa, Gordon knows how to skate at an average level. He's so good." Like you just see him slowly skating around. But I guess it was nice. It was like a nice callback to Gordon's like finding himself.
Yeah, it was like that moment in itself was fine. Then he started talking, and it's just I don't want to rehash our whole discussion on the writing, but
Yeah.
the thing with this show that just baffles me is I think that there's the writing at the level like the macro, the direction of the show,
Yeah.
which you guys have problems with of like this is just the most average sports plot ever,
Yeah.
which is like that's fine, that's that high level. I get that could be really hard to try and write a whole bunch of twists and surprises.
Yeah.
Then there's like the writing on the level of like we're talking about of like stealing from the lost and found, doing zany things, here's
Yeah.
like a funny scene. And then there's like the level of what comes out of people's mouths, and I
Mhm.
feel like every single one of those levels is just poorly done. And
Yeah.
even like if it's going to be the most rote straightforward sports show, you could have like the fun moments of like here's this funny thing we're doing to train someone, or even
Mhm.
like have when like the kids are supposed to have these funny characters, lean into that and have them actually be funny or like actually be enjoyable. That
Yeah.
scene when Gordon Bombay and the mom talks is just brutal. The mom is like, I thought you didn't have any hockey stuff. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, what's that? What's what? What's that? I don't know what you mean. Like, it's literally like
Brain
some
dead.
16-year-old in the back of their English class was writing a Star Wars fan fiction and came up with this.
I think they could have made this. I wonder how long it took them to make this story. It must have been like 12 hours. They just got a Diet Coke, sat down in a room at like 8:30
I
a.m.
I know that you like you're all about the like this is Disney, they have money to throw around. I really think they people in a boardroom were like, okay, Disney Plus, we need a show to add here. We need to get some viewers. Let's go to the graphs, and they just looked at a bunch of charts of properties they own that they
Yeah,
haven't done anything
franchises.
with a while. And some guy with glasses, he just flipped his pieces of paper. He was like, well, sir, it looks like the Mighty Ducks people have some reverence for, and we haven't touched that in a while. I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect. Let's give them $10 million and 10 episodes.
Is Emilio Estevez dead or is he still alive? Oh, okay. Let's give him a call and we'll see what he's up to and we'll see if we can get this going. Yeah. So the
Wait,
Cardinals.
is Goldberg alive?
he sadly at the time he was doing crack cocaine on a street corner, so Goldberg was almost dead, but he's made a recovery. So the Cardinals beat the Mighty Ducks like 12-0, and you find out that the
Mm-hmm.
goalie Cube is actually terrible. He just can't put it all together when he's actually. That was another terrible line where he's in net and they're like, Cube or whatever his name is, like, you gotta try and stop the puck, and he's like, I keep pressing the X button but it's not doing anything, and then he's like, oh, that's a video game, bud, that's not real life. Like, I just, no, no.
Some of the characters, I'll spend my moment here. The podcast kid remains being great. He got body checked and he's like, tell my mothers I love them because he has two lesbian moms. I
Yeah,
thought that was great.
that was
Very
good.
funny.
Yeah.
But like, Coob was kind of painful. Coob thinks we're living in a simulation. The girl with the glasses is like every spacey, dark,
Yeah.
just like that trope of like, oh, it's like Luna Lovegood, basically.
Yeah, like, yeah, anime girl or some shit that in grade 7 or 8 that, I don't know, that doesn't have any friends or she's awkward. But yeah, and then the
It's
other,
just
go ahead.
you go ahead.
The other girl, I don't think she said a single word yet. She's just like typical brown haired, whatever
She's just
girl.
a bully. That's it. She
Yeah.
can bully people. That's
Yeah.
her special talent.
Yeah, that's it. And then
Oof.
Sam, the black kid, he hasn't he hasn't gotten any screen time yet, really. So we don't know what he's about yet. He's just like the jokester.
Like even him, like if he's like this explosive, zany character, like say funny dialogue. Like
Yeah,
you
say
could
something.
have him say silly things.
Yeah,
This episode for me was a real low point, and I think that what needs to happen soon is Gordon Bombay needs to be positive and engaged soon,
Mhm.
and then hopefully the show can rest on his shoulders.
Yeah, he needs to go on a shooting spree next episode.
Oh my gosh. Jesus.
Okay, so then the Cardinals are beating their ass, and then, like you said, Gordon, he's like looking through the blinds and he's jerking off in front of all the kids. So then the game ends, and it's like 12-0, and then Evan, he's in the locker room and he's like, "Mom, I appreciate your help, but the one thing that isn't fun is getting your ass pounded." Like, and so then we actually see like the first sign of character from Evan, and he's like, he goes back on the ice, and then everyone else follows him out, and they do like a practice to end off the episode, and then you see Gordon, and he's like shaking his head like in approval, like, yeah, I remember this. This, like, they want it. They have heart.
And then we all shut it off and moved on with our lives.
And that was it. So what would you give the Mighty Ducks Game Changers episode 2? It was called Dusters. That was the title of the episode. It should have been called 30 Minutes of Fuck All. That's all it should have been called. But what would you give it out of 10?
I think I'd have to give this one like a 5.5.
Yeah, this one's...
There's still something I'll give this show. There is something, it does tend to kind of move. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like sometimes you watch a show and you're like, oh, I want to see what happens, but this scene has taken so long. I'm going to get back to this later. It does tend to move at a good clip.
Yeah.
It's just nothing entertaining or
Yeah,
enjoyable.
It moves fast, but there's absolutely no depth or content to the time. All right, I would give it a 3 out of 10. You're giving it a 5 out of 10. We'll see if episode 3 can pick it up, but it's not looking good right now. I am Jester. This is Merlin. Say bye, Merlin.
Bye, everyone.
We will see you back here for episode 3 of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
The Dusters.